This is a sneak peek
Yes.
of the podcast before we actually start. It's Ronald's dogs. Hopefully, I remember to put this in. Hello, my name is Yhatha,
And my name is Ronald.
and welcome to the Ronald and Yhatha After Dark podcast. And today we are talking about the Nintendo Switch 2 and our general thoughts, Mario Kart World, some later Nintendo Switch 2 stuff. Nintendo Switch 2 has been out for a month, so we haven't really done a podcast about the Switch 2 more generally. We've done it before it was coming out, which I don't think you've posted yet.
We also each haven't made our own Switch 2 videos yet, which is kind of funny because we both had like schedules to post stuff about it.
Hey, I've been adhering to my schedule so far, but I'm pretty sure, I'm pretty confident. I don't think I'm gonna like break it or anything. I just vaguely said I think I want to do a Switch 2 video, and then I never made one. It's just like, I don't know. I'm not like a tech review guy. I was like more like a gaming. Most of my videos are like older games anyway, so I'm like, okay.
Thinking about shifting to that area, but I don't think I will. If anything, I might like put that on Ron's corner or something.
Okay, well that's fine. But yeah,
Different conversation.
before just or just some more like preliminary stuff. If you're not interested in this first topic, you always check the YouTube chapters. But we first want to talk about my video that I'm on Yhatha. This is Yhatha. This is Yhatha content. Yhatha content is my personal channel. Yhatha is more high effort content that I actually like to be proud of. And on Yhatha, I posted a video a couple days ago about my Mario Maker levels, and we wanted to talk about it first. So,
Oh, I was also going to talk about the color one first,
oh, the color
actually.
one, yeah, my magenta. That was
Yeah,
that was like a week or so ago. Okay, let's start with my magenta then. And
yeah. I
actually,
actually really,
we have three videos technically. I mean, we already talked about the second one.
I didn't watch the
You
the
already
second one.
saw it. You already saw it. You don't need to watch that video again. Our previous episode of the podcast was actually about my main Yatakucha video, about Yatakucha UK. I made a vlog video about my time in the United Kingdom, which it launched, or when the Switch 2 launched, I was in the United Kingdom, which is the reason why I am a little late to the party and like in terms of main Switch 2 stuff. So, but I'm in our glorious country now, so it's fine.
Glorious country with dear leader. But no, yeah, no, I really liked your magenta video actually. That out of the two that I watched, that was actually my favorite.
Interesting.
Yeah, I also like the little nod that you threw at me at the end. But it reminds me a lot of like the internet and you from like Scott's channel or
I don't think
something,
I've
except
ever.
a lot more personal if that makes any sense.
I've actually never seen the internet in you.
It's okay.
I I I've always like wanted to see it, but I've just never like clicked on it. Like I don't know. Maybe I'm not a true Scott the Woz connoisseur. I've just never seen it.
Well, at any rate, I'll save the big question for in a bit. But no, I really like the general thing, and I thought like your thoughts with your favorite color and like other people's opinions on their favorite colors, and just like it was kind of like a video essay, and it was kind of enjoyable to watch. And I was like, that was
It
fun.
was also only 10
Um,
minutes, so it wasn't like too long.
no, it wasn't too long at all. My that was actually my biggest complaint about the second one was how long it is, but I understand.
Yeah,
Um,
I mean, I don't
It was
know.
also very different than the like other. Is that have you only posted 6 videos so far?
5.
5. Okay, so I mean, you really haven't posted like all that much because you did the fishing video
I did
and the
the Mario
Mario
video
video.
way back in like March. I did the fishing
Yeah.
video, then I disappeared from the internet. Then I came
Oh,
back and I did My Magenta, Yatakucha UK, and then just recently the Mario Maker video. I've done 5.
yeah.
Which,
But yeah, no. I thought the Mario Maker video was very interesting. I also like very specific parts. I don't know how in depth you want to get with some of it,
oh,
but
we can get in
specifically,
depth as much as you want. This is the
okay.
place. It's after dark. This is the
Well,
place.
yeah, yeah. But no, so like it was a fun video, and I enjoyed like hearing like your opinions on like some of your like older videos, specifically with the birthday. That was like a cool little thing where Aiden made a bunch of
Hmm.
stuff. I was like, oh, that's actually really neat because like it's fun to like find that stuff.
Yeah,
It's like opening a shoebox and finding your old like yearbook, you know?
it really was. That's why I enjoyed playing through the levels and making that video, making the ranking especially because it's like my own stuff. It's like personal, but Yeah, and now first I want to talk about your responses to my magenta before I get to Mario Maker too much. And that was, I feel like I was like almost done or like getting close to being done with the Mario Maker video when I realized this, but I felt like my magenta was like the close out of my 5 videos I've made so far. I feel like my magenta was the most me video, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
And I feel like I'm something a direction I'm gonna be in like taking with my later videos is I want, since I feel like my magenta was the most like my style specifically that's most unique to me, like not like it's good to take inspiration from other people, but I feel like I was kind of leaning a little bit too hard and just a mixture of like a
yeah,
handful of Nintendo creators and then plus of maybe like I don't know some other people. Like I wasn't super unique yet, and I my like unique skills that are to me specifically weren't able to shine as much because of that. Because for me, I know this didn't show in the My Magenta video, but in the Mario Maker video, every time someone like watches one of my stuff, especially like you included, I mean you didn't say it this time, but like a lot of my friends, when I send them my videos, their immediate comment or their like biggest, their one like first compliment all the time is like, "Wow, your editing is really like a lot better than I expected."
yeah,
Like it feels like they say it feels professional. My editing is not professional.
yeah.
I know but I know the reason why they said that is probably because they expected like iMovie fourth grader quality garbage, and
Well,
then it was like,
we all have access to YouTube, and we see what slop gets uploaded on there half the
yeah, and like
time.
I okay, not to toot my horn too much, but I actually do think I have editing like skills up to par or better than a lot of big channels. Not saying I'm
Yeah,
better than a lot of them. Like something like Nexpo shoots me out of the park. I know my limits. I don't know if you know Nexpo's not Nintendo content or gaming at all. He's you don't know who that is, okay? But like
but I'm thinking of the gameplay channels. Like you absolutely know more than they do at this point. A lot of gameplay people are like, "Yeah, I don't know how any of this works. I just plug in the things here and there."
but yeah, I like the editing that people know a lot more than me is like think like YouTube essays of like where they know how to like transition the music into the background and have like game like words highlighted on the screen. Like I'm not as good at that. That's where I'm kind of limited on.
I would also stuff like, I mean, Scott, I think does really good editing stuff, especially with help from other people. But I'm not really sure that's him or if that's more of just
I think
like
Scott edits his
collaboration
own
with.
videos. I know he helps on Scott's. He People help edit Scott's stash, but I'm pretty sure he edits his own main channel videos.
No, he does other stuff on his channel too, because like you know the animated stuff
Oh
he
well,
does a
yeah,
lot of
that
that.
obviously, but
That obviously, but there's also other stuff that he's done
generally, like,
just like in general on it that's like impressive. Like have you ever gone back after you've started all this and watched the Hey Baby episode? I forget what it's titled. It might just be Hey Baby.
no.
The one where like there's a claymation
Oh yeah,
like
he does have he did
you
a lot of
know
ambitious stuff back then.
yeah. But like there's stuff like that to where there's like entire scenes that he like did, which like I understand how he did it, but like to see like the work, like I do think he's a good editor in that
Oh,
sense.
I don't think Scott's a bad editor. I'd probably say he's even a better editor than I am, just because he has a lot more experience.
Yeah.
But I'm definitely I'm all I'm,
Right, your editing is really good for this early in your
I
yeah.
think out of like the three main skills of script writing, which is like ideas and how you write your stuff, your acting, which is acting, and then editing, which is editing. I think editing is my best skill. I think I'm literally doing it right now. I kind of stumble on my words a lot for acting wise, and then script writing, I'm just average. I don't think I'm like particularly good or particularly bad. So out of those three like main like categories of YouTube content, I guess like editing is definitely my strongest skill, and combine that with with this conversation started off with my magenta, how I feel like my magenta was also a little more like my style in terms of how I like to talk, and like going into more acting and script writing territory. If I combine that with like good editing, I feel like I can find my own style pretty well.
Yeah.
Yeah, my magenta was definitely the most. like personal video I've made, and I'm gonna go on a limb here and say that I think My Magenta might be my favorite video, even though it has nothing to do with video games or like my like general content matters or something that I
Yeah.
could actually like grow off of. Because like what sequel would I make to My Magenta talking about my favorite like air refresheners or something? I don't know. How the
No, but I get what you mean. Like the general style is what you would want to implement in the future, and
for
I
sure.
do think that would be a good thing for you to strive after, if that makes any
Yeah,
sense.
and this try to put some words to the style of My Magenta that I like in how I talk is that I'm very tangential as a person. I like random like philosophical conversations that are kind of dumb, and
Yeah,
I like the yeah, I just like to like ramble about myself, I guess. In further record, My Magenta was a science experiment. Like
yeah.
what I
Well, I
made.
figured. This.
Yeah, I didn't make that video for the views. I didn't make that video to be like a super good video. And I'm really happy it turned out as well as it did in terms of like the authenticity category because I'm really happy that I think I discovered something about myself that is going to be very useful. So, in going forward, like I'm going to be like doing more like My Magenta. And when I mean My Magenta was a science experiment, I say that as in I took maybe like less than 10 hours to make that video tops. Maybe like 6
Yeah,
hours, to be honest. Like I just kind of like got some ideas together, threw some ideas on paper, practiced a script for like one time through, and then just talked. And I just
yeah.
went with the structure of those ideas. And that's what I want my future videos to be like. I want to be able to improve my speaking skills so I'm not stumbling on my words half the time, but other than that, I think I should be
Well, and I
set.
feel like that also goes with some level of practice. Like part of the reason why I try not to get super frustrated when I'm like doing takes for my videos is like most of the time I'm cold reading it, and sometimes it works. Sometimes I'm like, oh, that was a good take. Like for instance, do you remember that like shot where I like sat down and I was like, hey, and I did the intro for the Louisiana video?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was first take. I didn't do a like second thing, but like a lot of takes throughout all my videos I'm doing for like 20 minutes is not necessarily the fact that I'm like, oh, I'm not bad at speaking. It's more of like, oh, I'm practicing how I want to deliver this. And so this 20 minutes would have been spent. Like, imagine if we live performed all of this.
Uh-huh.
Like, us just getting one take would not be enough. We would have to like practice each section of all these videos for hours on end to get one like cohesive take. So like just going sitting down and like just talking to the camera and delivering things, I just view it more as like practice than like
Yeah.
being bad,
For
if
the
that makes any sense.
record, generally what I do is I give myself like two or three takes, but I don't do anything more than that because I feel like if I'm doing the same thing over and over again, I overthink it. I'm the type to overthink stuff and like get way too deep and try way too hard. So I'm like, and when I was editing the Mario Maker video, actually, because I recorded it all in one shot. Like it was like an
Right.
hour and a half long recording, and I just edited it down. And something I noticed is that I was talking about one of the like levels, and then I'd be like, actually, I'm gonna take. I'd say to the camera, retake, and I say it again, and when I was editing it, I'm like, the first take was better.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't know why I thought I needed a retake. So I'm like kind of
The thing,
realizing a lot of the times when I do retakes, I'm oftentimes focusing on the wrong things, and for me to actually get better, it's gonna take multiple days if I want to like make the end product better. So that since that's
it
realistic, I
depends
just
what you're doing, but especially for like face to face content, I think you're right. To where like the first take of just like a plain read that you're not even reading, that you're just talking to the camera and you just have the general idea of what you want to convey. I feel like that is generally the case. But like for what I'm specifically referencing is like if I'm trying to do a gag or otherwise if I'm going on a dialogue or it's like a paragraph long that I want to get all the points on. I don't have to say it exactly, but I want to get like this and this said. That stuff I will sit and like consistently talk to the microphone or camera both to try to make it sound what I imagine in my head, if that makes any sense.
okay. Yeah, that I've been doing like read throughs of my scripts, and I think that is kind of what I'm trying to do. I just got to get better. I don't really think there's anything more to talk about here. But what about the Mario Maker video specifically? What the heck? Wait, you said something.
Huh?
You said something, but I
I
didn't.
know it's practice. It was Discord. You did
Okay.
it earlier on my end.
Oh, okay. Oops.
Yeah.
Um.
Yeah.
Apparently, Discord's being bought out or something, or like going public. Is that that's the reason why, Ronald? Blame
Society that we live in.
blame every minor problem on yeah.
Okay, the one thing that I'm sure we can't get too far into, but like you specifically mentioned at one point your brother, and
Yes.
that was actually super meaningful. And again, if you
Yeah.
know, you know,
Yeah.
dude, don't get into that. But the biggest issue that I had with the video, going to like actual
I
critique, I
like
thought
how
the video was entertaining.
I like how you went from your the heck my brother to my biggest issue.
Well, yeah, I know we just can't like dive too deep into that because
Yeah, I
that's like
know.
personal life.
Wait.
But
Before you get to your biggest issue, what do you think about Compact Castle as a level? I love Compact Castle.
I do not remember that, to be honest.
Damn, that's probably a fall in the video.
I remember I remember some early stuff, and then I remember this ghost hotel. Like
Yeah.
I remember this level where you basically just spammed a bunch of like fall blocks, and you're like, I don't really know what's going on here, but it was one of, like I don't remember what it was.
But
But then there's also
Compact Castle was number one. Maybe you just don't remember the name. It was the
was
very
that like the Country Dash level?
that was number. I think it was number like five. Wait. Okay, I'm gonna go through like all the good levels because the good levels are like the like final tier. You know.
I'll be so honest, I do not remember any of the
Oh,
names.
it's fine if you don't remember the names, but like just the general concept. There was the flat. There was the if you know you know level, which we just discussed that.
Yeah.
There was the TikTok clock level, which I don't think needs much discussion on that one. I was just like,
Well, that was an interesting the one thing I will say before we get too far into this, I thought it was really interesting how you play Mario Maker compared to how I do, because I don't like making levels. I hate it. Like
I love making
listen,
levels.
my version of being creative is sitting down and writing 6 paragraphs about why like Cuba was mistreated by the U.S. or some like or how air conditioning is actually bad, like stupid stuff like that. That's what I like enjoy sitting down and thinking and like making stupid content about, or writing about how I'm stupid in Louisiana and like playing a football game, you know. But
Yeah.
like I've never done that, and so to see you be like, yeah, I wanted to recreate the specific level from Mario 64 because I couldn't afford like an old video game. That was like really neat for me, somebody who never does that and just gets online and like plays random levels on Mario Maker,
Yeah.
to like that is something that people actually do that I know, that aren't just weirdos that I see on Reddit that are like, yes, this is actually the best way to do this.
Did not you calling me a weirdo on Reddit? I do not use that platform. I purse my Reddit account. Yeah, and then number five was the Geometry Dash level, which you mentioned that, which just goes in the same vein. Number four was the Smash Wii U level. I don't know if you want to have any comments on
I
that.
do remember that. I thought that was kind of boring. I'm not gonna lie.
Dang.
And I was like, okay. I will also admit that I'm probably not like, again, I never got that into Mario Maker. I played for like 50 hours, I think, on my Switch 2 or on my Switch,
I have about
and I
100.
was
Mario Maker 2, I have about 100. A little over
how
100
much
hours.
the original? Do
The
you know?
way, like, over like 300 something, 400 something, something. A lot.
See, I never got. The only reason I bought Mario Maker 2 was because you and I think the Big L got into it at
Yeah.
one point in time.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh yeah, I need to buy it. So I went out and spent $60 on a game I didn't particularly wanted, and then I was like, okay, this is fun. And then I just moved on to Smash or Fortnite. I can't remember which one it was, but I just went back
Dang.
to like my multiplayer game.
I don't even remember you really doing much on Mario Maker 2, to be honest with you.
I didn't. I would literally just play random levels with you and the Big L, and then occasionally I would get on and play random levels by myself, and then that was it.
Dang. I want to make like a follow up video to the Mario Maker, being like ranking my Mario Maker 2 levels. Although it wouldn't be as exhaustive because I stopped like doing spam crap and like the more 10-year-old
Yeah.
stuff that didn't exist in Mario Maker 2 because I was like old enough to not do that type of stuff by that time that game came out. But and then Number three was Haunted Hotel, which I love that level. The top three I really liked. I was proud of. Like genuinely were like good levels that I really enjoyed. Where like the
Yeah.
Haunted. Did you remember like my argument with like the how like it was a simple puzzle, but how it integrated into the environment made it like a good puzzle.
I remember you mentioning it. It was yesterday when I watched it. I just have the memory of a 95-year-old grandma.
Right.
Um, but yeah, no, I vaguely remember the argument you were talking about, and you're throwing around a bomb, or a bomb while you were
Yeah.
at.
Out of curiosity, did you like watch the video or did you like have it as like background?
I did both. So like
Okay.
I watched it for about 10 minutes, and then I was like, okay, he's just talking about his Mario Maker levels, and then I put on the background.
That's fair. It was a 40-minute video. Maybe if I like have more of a staying power in the future, then like I feel like what I say would be more meaningful than you want to sit down and watch it. But for right now, I
Yeah,
think that
like if you did like a 40-minute video about like the Switch 2's life or like the Wii U's life or some broader topic that
isn't
suffices my
strictly about
2025.
myself.
Uh-huh.
Isn't strictly about myself.
No, I'm not even against that. I'm just like, it's just, again, I don't think I was the target for this video because I am not that into Mario. I was never that into Mario Maker. I would boot it up when I wanted to play with friends, and then I would boot it up when I wanted to just play a Mario game, and I didn't have like a Mario Wonder at the time.
Ah, yeah. So, and then my number two was Underwater Maze. You remember Underwater Maze?
You remember Underwater
Did you
Maze, and I
think?
remember you saying that that was a better one, but wasn't that the one you used everything in?
No,
Or is that
no,
a different
no. That was a different level.
Okay, then I don't remember Underwater
No,
Maze
then
that well.
you Underwater Maze was number. It was the progression based one. I talked about progression based gameplay. How's actually better than number one gameplay wise, if you're from a strict gameplay perspective.
Can remember that comment, but I do not remember that that specific level.
Okay. Okay, if you remember the comment, then that's important. And then number one, Compact Castle. I the reason. Do you remember anything about number one or Compact Castle? I know you have to.
Was Compact Castle the theming one, or was that an earlier one?
It
Because I
was the
feel like the
theme.
theming one was earlier.
It was a big theme. Well, a couple of them are theming, but Compact Castle is also the theming. I really like the theming.
I don't remember. I'm not be so
Here,
real.
I'll
Again, I watched the first 10 minutes and then I was like, okay, I must play some football.
okay, but essentially the reason why I like that level is because since it was everything was so close together, they like elements would interact with each other. So,
Okay.
and like that's the reason why I thought the level was good because like I gave an example of like you go in a muncher to get a, or like you go through a series of munchers to get a mushroom to progress, and then you go back to that room and you use the fact that you had a space from the mushroom to be able to progress on the top upper side. So it's
Okay.
like elements are like interacting with each other. That's I just really like the idea. So, anyways, I think we should wrap up the Mario Maker section.
Yeah, okay, so I have two more comments. The first one, if you do more gameplay stuff, I would break it up somehow. Because like you basically talked for like the first I think it was like 5 or maybe 4 minutes to where you're just talking about your experience with Mario Maker. And then you went into like 30 straight minutes of gameplay with nothing breaking up.
I
It's
heard
just like
the little
it
transition.
works if that's your channel, but like if that leads into my second question. So are you planning to I know your channel's going to continue to evolve. I know that's how YouTube channels work. You never like solidify it into like a singular format. But like do you want to
Stop that.
experiment with more formats going forward
Yo,
or is
yeah,
it like
my next video is gonna be completely different.
okay.
I understand the doubt or the shortcomings of that video because when I like was really far, I was really far into production when I kind of realized my magenta was actually the direction I wanted to take with my channel, and I'm like, I'm not
Yeah.
just gonna ditch this video. So I was just like,
Well, I think you could have still done stuff in the similar vein. It was just a lot to take in.
I was in the editing process by the time I realized that.
Yeah, it was just a lot to take in, and I feel like going forward, I like the biggest thing that I do, and again, I'm no expert, don't don't take what I'm about to say to heart. But like when I try to like make a video, I try to have like segments and then I try to have a break in between. Specifically because like our 2025 minds cannot comprehend
You see,
of
I
paying
can.
attention.
I can.
I can't. I lose interest and then I'll come back. Clearly, I can't remember half the levels that you're mentioning.
I'm just sad you don't remember number one. I feel like you remember the ones that were like important to you. We're like, oh
Yes,
yeah,
that is also very true. Like I also remember when you mentioned the Lucario like amiibo figure and going and getting the amiibo and then
yeah.
making the joke about how you were like even as a little kid you thought toys to life were
I
stupid.
still think they're
I am
stupid.
guilty of the toys to life. I am planning to make a hour-long documentary on Skylanders at some point.
Why?
Because it was important to my childhood, so I want to
You
like
got
give it credit.
Skylanders? I was like, okay, quick side tangent. I remember there was this kid in elementary school that was like, he was kind of just a stupid kid. Like, he would like, at the playground, he would like walk around, and he was kind of fat too. And like, uh, and he would like he would like asking people with like his nose, be like, "Hey, what are you doing today?" And then he would like someone would ignore him, be like, "Wah, wah, 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 wah." And I went to his house one day for some reason. And he had a massive Skylanders collection, and I'm just like, this is so stupid. I'm like,
Okay,
you're
okay, okay.
wasting so much money on this. And I was like 10, and I was thinking that I
Listen, I was a baby when I like Skylanders. So like I got my Wii when I was like maybe 8, probably younger. And I remember I loved Mario Kart Wii, but consistently my parents would get me Skylanders because I enjoyed Skylanders. And I wasn't like old enough to like want Zelda yet because like I was a dumb kid. I was stupid still. And so like I would get Skylanders and the only real and then occasionally we would go to the dollar store and I would beg my mom for the $5 things like once every like 3 months. And so I would get like a $5 Skylander that was like 3 years old at that point to like play on the new Skylanders game. And like that didn't stop until I want to say until I got my 3DS, and then I kind of just like lost interest in Skylanders like shortly after that.
as you should.
Again, the YouTuber I'm gonna send you has an hour-long video on Skylanders, but it's different from mine because like he goes into the lore of Skylanders, which is insane.
Scott the
I would
Woz
never
also has a
have the
video that's
patience.
Scott the Woz also has a Skylanders video, I think.
I think it's just Toys to Life. I think he
It may
killed
have been
every
just
bird with that same
it
stone.
may have been just Toys of Life. I think all the Toys of Life figures are stupid, Nintendo included. I'm not gonna exempt them for that. I think they're out of all of them they're the best, but I think still think that's like saying that's like saying like Bill Gates is the best billionaire. They're all bad.
So like the biggest thing with me is I wish that like video games would go back to like this is a much larger topic that we are not covering right now. We can cover this in a different podcast. But I wish that like video games would go back to like the $60 price tag, nothing else. I would rather pay $100 for a video game and have no microtransactions, no like stupid figurines I have to go buy
Aw.
instead of like a ton of microtransactions and a ton of like really shady business practices to get you to like drain a bunch of money into it. Like I think I complained about the college football game for like the
You
microtransactions
did.
online and how stupid
You
that
did. That was
is.
my main
And then like
criticism of it.
another thing is like Fortnite. I wish like I would prefer to pay $70 for Fortnite, and I would even prefer to spend like a monthly fee on it to have access to that game. Like even then, I would rather do that than to like just have to buy like V-Bucks or whatever the in-game currency of whatever game you're talking about. I just think like in-game currencies are stupid and microtransactions
Yeah.
need to go away.
Sorry, I have hives on my leg right now.
You're still breaking out from going to Ireland.
I know the Irish did this to me. Anyways, I mean, yeah, that's a not an unpopular opinion.
Some people defend it, which is insane.
Who defends it? I'm not on the side of people
Well,
who defend it.
specifically with Fortnite, with the college football game, there's no excuse. I gave you $70, and you still have stupid business practices going on. With Fortnite, the argument is that you don't need any of that stuff. Like specifically with Fortnite, like the only thing that you have to pay money to unlock is save the world, and none of that matters. And then the only other thing you want to spend money on is like the battle passes or like the in-game shop. But like I don't know if you know this, but in China, what they do is they have Fortnite, but instead of like having they like China pays for access to Fortnite, so the Chinese government, from my understanding, is they'll pay the Fortnite developers to like have it in their like country, and then how the players unlock V Bucks and whatnot is just by completing like progressions and saving up through like gameplay quests and whatnot,
So it's just an
and then
RPG.
they, huh?
It's just an RPG by that point then.
Yeah, but it still has the online like features, and so like I think that like if I had to spend like $100 to go out and buy Fortnite or to like $100 for a year of access for Fortnite, I would rather have that and just be able to like play like an RPG to consistently get V Bucks or like the Battle Pass or whatever than to pay them $25 for a single skin, if that makes any sense, or $10 a month to have access to the Battle Pass. Because the Battle Pass in of itself isn't evil. It's just the fact that it's like a constant money drain, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, that's like $120 a year.
Well, and also they're like for a while
And
there,
then people
and this
think
is
NSO is like a ripoff. Like,
well, no, for a while there, you didn't have to pay. So you bought it once, and then you could just like save V Bucks from the Battle Pass, and it would pay itself off, and then you'd have money for the next like Battle Pass.
yeah.
But now that's not how it works. Now you have to pay just $10 a month.
Wait, that's like American healthcare or something. You just have to pay to be able to pay.
Yeah.
Or you can pay an exorbitant amount separately.
Listen, we don't need to get into that right now. Let's go to the Switch 2.
Wait, you were about to give like one big comment about my video though.
What?
You're saying like one big like criticism you had about like the Mario Maker video, or did you already say that?
Oh, the big criticism was you went on a 30-minute tangent on I think like 20 different levels, and I kind of lost interest about halfway through.
Oh dang. Gotta talk about it. I thought the editing was too fast.
Yeah, if I were you, I would have added another 5 minutes of just like intersections to where like you kind of catch the viewer's breath, if that makes any sense.
Look, I don't think viewers. By the way, last thing on that Mario Maker video, how did you like the thumbnail?
Okay. Okay. I think it's a good thumbnail. On a preference with what I'm about to say is I think it's a good thumbnail. However, when I first saw it, I was so terrified. I saw it, I was like, this is terrifying. This is awful. Just because I know you and I've seen you like so much in person that was like
Wait, just. I think the worst part of that video, in my opinion, was the thumbnail, and I say that because the YouTube analytics was horrible. Nobody clicked on it.
yeah.
So, like, how could
I feel
I?
like with that thumbnail, you need a couple 100,000 subscribers or something to just get the momentum going.
I guess. I don't know. I don't really know how to make thumbnails. That's like,
Listen, we're both so early into this process. I don't think either of us really know what we're doing. I'm not gonna lie.
thumbnails is like my
Especially,
worst category. I can edit. I can edit, Ronald.
it's true. You can edit.
Anyways, okay, Switch 2 stuff.
Is there anything specifically you want to talk about the Switch 2? Because I feel like we covered a lot. I do want to say I have a unique hatred for the game cards still.
Oh, the game key cards.
Yeah, I think that's stupid.
Hey, they didn't sell well, so
But okay, the only thing I'm hoping, specifically for like small indie games that don't really need like the Switch 2 power, is for them to keep producing Switch 1 game cards and just sell Switch 2 cards in a Switch 2 case, or just keep it as a Switch 2 or
Honestly,
Switch
I just say
1
keep them
around.
as Switch One games because like indie games don't need to be Switch Two. You know,
That's what I'm saying. So like if they continue producing those smaller cards just for the Switch,
they
that
should.
would be a solution. I think that that's like, especially for the smaller games that don't need the processing power. And then the bigger games that need the processing power, just buy the Switch 2 card at that point.
Yeah.
But other than that, that's my hope and pray. And I hope Nintendo sees that and comes up with that solution. I
It
doubt they're watching the After Dark podcast with 20 views, but
and then well, and all of the views at this point probably being like a background and like after the couple fell asleep. Imagine
yeah.
waking up to the Ronald and Yhatha After Dark podcast. Leave a like if you woke up to the Ronald and Yhatha After Dark podcast.
You have no clue who either of us are. You just ended up here somehow.
You got here by autoplay.
What I really want to know, because I think this is a feature that we eventually unlock on YouTube, where we can cross-reference how many like shared viewership that each channel has.
Oh
Like
yeah,
I
I know what
remember
you're talking about.
YouTubers talking about that. I don't know how to access it yet.
I just don't think you have enough views. Yeah, but
I'm
yes,
assuming that's what it is, but
you're
it
in
would be
Nintendo
funny to
Switch.
see the difference.
Here it is.
Ew.
I own I
Isn't it big?
what?
Isn't it big?
Yeah, well, we already know that. But in terms of the hardware, I'm actually really satisfied with the Switch 2 itself. To be honest with you, I don't have like really any major complaints. If I were to try to like nitpick, I guess the HDMI on my TV sometimes flickers.
I do have one nitpick with the Switch 2 specifically.
What?
I wish that they had a better GPU in it, and also more storage. Those are my two
Oh,
big
this.
nitpicks.
Okay, I can defend Nintendo in the storage because if they made like 500 something gigabytes, then it would have just been like, oh, then the file sizes can be even less compressed, and it's just a never-ending process.
It's
I can defend like
because
so I actually don't really think the storage really
it's,
matters that
it's
much.
ridiculous because I have like 3 games downloaded on my Switch and I have 50 gigabytes left. Yeah, the storage. It's stupid because they did the Express SD cards, right? So like if we want a terabyte SD card, that is a $250 SD card expansion that you have to buy.
Hmm.
Now, I'm hoping that goes down in price. We don't know. But let's say it doesn't. That means you're spending half the price of an already expensive console just to have more storage capability that is standard on other consoles, even Xbox, which I hate Xbox.
You know what's kind of interesting? I remember when the Switch 1 came out and I had to get like and I ended up getting a 32, I think it was 32, maybe been 64 gig like SD card, like micro SD card for my Switch. And I remember thinking it was like a lot of money. It was like probably like 30 to $60. It wasn't that much, but like for me that was a lot of money. And then like I looked at it now like a couple like years ago now and I'm like, wow, it was like 20 10 bucks. Like the technology just like improved, like mass production, which
Yeah,
is kind of interesting.
that's what I'm hoping. I'm hoping in like a year or two that the price comes down to something more affordable. It's not looking bright, especially here in the States. Our poor leadership is making that
I
very
wouldn't
hard
say
to foresee.
I wouldn't say it's all ever. I don't want to get into that hole, but yeah, sure.
But like even just generally, if we're just looking at like let's say a global audience here, $250 is a lot of money. And they're not even in stock, so it's not even like if I was like, I'm balling with money. I'm working at my $10 50 10
I
50 and
wonder if Nintendo got like some kind of like deal with like SanDisk or something to be like, actually, you're using micro SD cards, and then they're like, yeah, we're like we care about power now. That's why we're doing it.
I don't know. I'm just like I'm really hoping that another company, because I think On has actually made one where it's fairly cheap, but the issue is that they're even out of stock now.
I mean, I
Um,
don't really need storage right now because I don't actually like buy a ton of games, so I'm fine, to be honest with you.
Yeah, but my biggest point is that it's kind of ridiculous that we're spending $500, which is more than what the PS5 original price was. And
Finish your
again,
backlog
I'm
before you
not
complain
I'm
about
not
it.
saying that it's not worth it. I think that $500 price tag is generally worth it. I just think it's ridiculous that we don't have 500 gigabytes of storage. At least I think a terabyte is like standard at this point. If Nintendo wants to go play big balls and go play with the big dogs, they need to be able to actually have the storage capacity, and that kind of goes with my other point with the GPU and the RAM, which I kind of combined into one. The processing power is good, but I wish that there was more because I have a feeling that in a year or two that this console is going to start to feel outdated for people who even have a I don't want to say a PS5, but when the PS6 and the Xbox question mark comes out, like but when those eventually do inevitably come out, or don't be sitting here and being like, oh, well, the Switch 2 is still fine, it's whatever. But then 2 years after that, when developers actually catch up and start making games that actually take advantages of those hardwares, our Switch 2 is going to start to run like our Switch 1 runs because it physically cannot handle the games that even a PS5 can at the same capacity.
I will give Nintendo that is like 5 years from now.
Yes, that's just the only concern I have. But the biggest thing that's been aggravating me is the game key cards, and then on top of that, the storage. And when you combine them both, that aspect just really makes me angry.
Yeah,
Because
I will give I do understand why Nintendo did 256 though because it's like I feel like most people don't. If you look at like the attach rate for most Nintendo consoles, they're actually kind of low, and even then, most of people only play Nintendo games. For a vast majority of their consumer base, 256 is more than enough.
yeah, I disagree. When you start downloading 30 gigabyte games,
And Nintendo games are very compressed too. Like Mario Kart World is like a big
yeah,
Nintendo
I'm
game.
talking
It's like
about Mario Kart, but also what isn't Donkey Kong 20 gigabytes or
it's
something?
it's like 10.
Regardless, even 10 gigabytes, that is 1/25th. You can have 25 games of Donkey Kong on there, right?
If I was a kid and I had 25 games, I would have been like my mom was making like
I'm not talking
millions
about
of
the kids.
dollars.
I don't care about the children. They are not buying that many games. I'm talking about the adults that have a bunch of games, that have a bunch of friends,
You can also
that have
delete your games.
but then that's a frustrating experience because I spent $500 on this console. I shouldn't have to delete and re-download and wait every time I want to switch from Mario Kart to Donkey Kong.
I
That
okay.
shouldn't be that I
I
have to deal
100%
with.
agree with you. The key card. I think key cards are BS.
But I'm
However,
saying combine
I'm
them
just
both
not.
because my issue isn't even that oh it's 256 gigabytes, that's too small. My issue is that you're not supporting me to be able to go out and buy these games physically. Like indie games, that's whatever. Most of the time they can't even afford smaller things. But something what's the isn't Street Fighter a game key card?
Yeah, that
So we're downloading these AAA off-brand, maybe
honestly,
double A if you want to go there.
I just think that's a bad play now by Nintendo because the third parties are doing really poorly. Cyberpunk sold well, for the record, and the
Yeah.
rest of them sold like crap.
But I understand that, but I'm saying that let's say that they don't address the situation because right now they haven't made any
Financially,
announcements
they
toward.
have to. Like
Well,
their
let's say
investors are
they don't.
knocking on their
Let's say that
door.
they don't care. My point is that if they don't care, then you have not only set us up to where we physically do not have space to download a bunch of games, we also don't have the option to go out and buy these games physical, so we don't then have to deal with these this massive download library. If I was able to go out and buy every game I wanted to buy just physically and only have to download a gigabyte storage thing for updates maybe. That would be whatever. I wouldn't be complaining right now. The issue is you've combined both these issues to where you don't really have the option to go out and buy a bunch of physical games because half of them are game key cards. And then you also don't have the option to go and download all these games because you don't have enough space on your system. Or your other option is to spend $750 on this console just to have storage.
If you have 25 games, you're already spending like $750.
Like you're $750 out of the hole without any games.
You're not spending $750 out of the hole.
Yes, you are. Okay, I'm saying if you go out and you buy the terabyte SD card, which is this small and doesn't have any games on it, that's $750 combined with the console. Or
I'm
you can go out and buy 25 games and you have 25 games with the console.
I'm in the camp that like I don't think this is that big of a deal. Like just delete your games when you
Okay,
don't
you
play
don't
them.
have a PlayStation, you don't have an
I
Xbox, you
have a
don't
PC.
understand.
I have a
No,
PC.
how much do you play the PC?
Not that
Do you
much.
play the PC daily?
My brother used to play it a lot. He had like I
That's not
remember him
you.
upgrading storage.
Are
I
you
know I know
physically
how storage standards are.
No! You're just objectively wrong. You're a Nintendo fan at this point.
I don't think it's
Have
okay.
the
I'm
wrong
not defending
opinion.
it. Like, sure, Nintendo could definitely have afforded to spend more money on like upgrading the storage, but at the same time, I understand why they didn't.
My point is either upgrade the storage so it's not a necessity for me to go out and buy more. Because again, I have a PlayStation, right?
Yeah,
On my PlayStation, I have 25 games downloaded on that at any given time. That's not a big deal.
yeah.
The issue is I have 5 games downloaded on my Switch, and I have no space on that thing left.
How many games do you have? Is it just mostly Switch One games that you
Well,
download?
this is mostly Switch One games, but also like the like. Have you downloaded all the NES and Game Boy
I did.
stuff?
Yeah,
And then download the two Zelda games. That's around 50 gigabytes of storage right there.
I have Tears, but I don't have. I have Breath of the Wild's physical.
Both. So I lost Breath of the Wild at some point, and I ended up finding Breath of the Wild on the eShop for like $20. I was
Interesting.
like, okay, I'm gonna get that because it was like on sale for the first time ever for that low. And so I bought that.
$20 is
But the issue is now is that both those games are both taking up around like 60 gigabytes of storage. Now I could just delete them. You're right. But then I have to go re-download them whenever I want to go out and play them. When again, I have 25 games on my PlayStation 5 and it's not a big deal.
okay. I'm just saying, like, I don't like playing multiple games at once. So for me to be hearing that I want 25 different games available at all times is kind of ridiculous.
Okay, yes, but I'm talking from a multiplayer focused perspective right now.
Okay.
That's what I'm trying to get you to understand. I have Fortnite downloaded on actually both the Switch
How big
2
is
and my
Fortnite?
PlayStation.
How
I'm
many
going to
gigs?
delete it on my Switch 2.
How many gigs is Fortnite? It can't be that
It's a
much.
lot. I don't know how much it is on the PlayStation or on the. I've not looked at the gigabytes because they update this and the storage size like changes frequently.
That's fair.
But I think the last time I looked at it, it was around 35 to 50 gigabytes. That's like
Fortnite is
kind of.
50 gigabytes.
Oh,
Fortnite's 50 gigabytes.
I think that's a really high thing. I think it's around 35
Okay.
or below.
Even 35
Hold on,
surprises
I
me.
can solve this. Hold on. So I actually just downloaded the update.
Okay.
And this is on the Switch. I think it's actually a little bit more on PlayStation, but not by a ton. Snella Solution. So yeah, Zelda Tears of the Kingdom with both the like physical download is like
Tears is
20
like
gigabytes.
no, it's like
Fortnite is
11.
9 gigabytes on here.
Tears is like 11. I have it on my Switch. It's like 11 gigs. 20.1. Okay, maybe it's not.
I have the updated one with the full game download.
Oh, that's why
it.
it's 20.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I haven't done that yet. That's fair.
I actually just deleted Fortnite off my Switch. That's gonna help a little bit. But like even Kirby and the Forgotten Land, that's like 6 gigabytes. But even if you start chipping away at like 5 gigabytes at a time, that's a lot of storage out of a 250 gigabyte console, you know?
I'm just okay. I agree that key cards are BS. For the record, like I don't like
I'm
that.
just combine both the issues. That's my core issue here.
Yeah, I don't like key cards, and for the reason of storage, it is kind of like, oh well, I am just like getting. I see what you mean by you're combining the issues, when you're looking at the storage specifically, I do think you're being a little ridiculous, to be honest. Because I don't think you should.
That's kind of what I'm saying. When you
I
combine
feel
them
like, oh, I
both,
need to have access to 25 games at once. Like, no, you don't.
but again,
the,
even
the,
if you just look at this from a multiplayer perspective, for instance, on my PlayStation, I have my football game, I have Fortnite, I have Call of Duty that I got for free off the
Call of Duty.
PlayStation thing. I
Which
have
Call of Duty is
Fall
that?
Guys. I mean, you think of the multiplayer game, it's downloaded on that, and that's just because I have a bunch of different friends that I play with. And there's a lot of people out there like me that has a bunch of free games downloaded on their Switch just so they can play multiplayer with their friends.
I guess I don't really play a lot of multiplayer, so I guess if you're like a big multiplayer guy, then I'm sure.
I'm saying there's a ton of people out there that probably even had this on the Switch, but on the Switch it wasn't that big of a deal because for 100 bones you get a terabyte SD card. Bam! It's not that big of a deal. Not to mention, like even back then,
I mean,
games weren't that big.
the Switch One, like, it's 300. A terabyte SD card is 100. That's like a third of the price.
Yeah,
I'm just.
and it's half the price on the current one.
I,
And not to mention, the current one is five hundred
I,
dollars, and wages haven't increased.
I
We're talking
guarantee
about
you.
American.
I guarantee you that on the Switch One, back when it first came out, a terabyte SD card was like ridiculously expensive, like at least 100, like over 100.
I'm sure, but the issue is when you combine both these issues,
The
and the
gaming
industry
industry does
standard is
not care
terabyte.
about your wages. Then nobody cares about your wages.
I know, but it would not cost Nintendo that much more to include a terabyte baked in because they wouldn't have to deal with the SD card issue. All they
I
would have
do
to do
agree
is
with
figure out
that.
how to
I
include it.
agree that it would help alleviate the key card nonsense. I think that is a fair point. I just think that isolated, oh, we need more storage because I want 25 games loaded at the same time is kind of ridiculous.
Ignore the 25 games. I'm just saying that as a consumer, it is a lot harder on the consumer to go out and pay $200 for a terabyte SD card that has nothing on it than it is for a consumer to wait, use the terabyte that they have downloaded on the console, maybe make the console cost $50 or $25 more to include the price in there, like they do on every other, competitively viable console, which is kind of what Nintendo is going for here. They wanted to have a beefier console. But if you want to have a beefier console, you got to have more storage. And the fact that they upgraded it to, 4K, you can't just upgrade to 4K and stay at 250 gigabytes. That's not how that works.
The Switch One being at 32 gigabytes felt like way too little.
Yeah, that's my point. They know that this was already going to be an issue.
So, I mean, I don't think. I think I still stand by the 256 is fine. I agree that the key cards are BS though, because if you do combine them, it is kind of an issue. And I didn't. I was planning on getting Elden Ring, and then the fact that it was a key card deflated me so hard.
To give you reference,
But
the PS4,
oh my
which
God.
released.
Okay, this
I'm
conversation's
just no.
axed.
I'm just giving
I
you
don't
reference.
give a shit. Axed.
That came out how many years ago?
Axed. We already came to a consensus. Axed.
No.
Next conversation.
I'm saying it's ridiculous.
Next conversation. We already came to a consensus. I know your opinion. It's a valid opinion. I have my opinion. It's a valid opinion. Axed.
Okay. We'll move on. Do you want to talk about Mario Kart World?
Yes.
Okay. I think it's good. I'm kind of disappointed with the online right now. I wish that they would include more 3-player, but I'm not terribly affected by it. I'm still having fun with the game. I just don't.
The online situation is just funny. Okay, I want you to know. So, Nintendo designed all these intricate 3-lap courses with all this cool shortcuts, and they almost want there to be a competitive scene with this game that they put all this effort into it. I hate the argument that Mario Kart is always been a casual game, because why is Nintendo making these intentional super high skill shortcuts?
Yeah.
And then they're actually, when you have all these intermissions, it's not that Nintendo's oh, we found an unintentional way to play the game, like Super Smash Bros. Melee style with wave dashing or something.
Yeah.
It's not that situation. It is an intentional gameplay mechanic that Nintendo put in and designed in a well-crafted manner. and now they're like, actually, we already also did
You want
this.
the casuals to have some fun.
I'm like, you're stepping on your own foot here. Like, what? I don't really play online that much, so I don't really care. Although I do agree with the sentiment online that yeah, it's kind of dumb. I'm not personally affected though, because
I got on again. I play very seldomly online,
I play very
but
seldomly online for me to actually care enough. I'm like whatever.
yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I'm probably not gonna play Mario Kart online competitively. Like not for a while at least.
I have like over 200 hours in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, almost 300. And guess how many hour or how much VR I have in that game?
Probably not a ton.
Like 6,000.
Yeah.
Like for
Oh,
compare,
this game is a lot easier to get VR in.
that's completely out of I don't that's irrelevant. But like I feel like a lot of people would easily get to like 10,000 in like Mario Kart 8 Deluxe if that's why they play the game. Because I just don't really play online. As we talked with the storage, I'm not really a multiplayer person.
Not a multiplayer guy.
I'm
We
not.
went over this.
No, I don't need 25 games downloaded for my 25 Discord friends that are chronically online.
Again, you're acting like I go out and buy each one of these games. I'm specifically just talking about like the storage that I brought over from my Switch One.
Okay, but yeah, it's what was I going off on?
Yeah, the online situations. It's funny.
It is funny.
I will say that the gameplay or the game itself is actually a lot of fun.
Oh yeah,
Like,
I think Mario Kart World was designed for me because I like Boundary Break in like remember
yeah,
like in like 2015 when there's like Boundary Break videos where you like go into a like someone like hack the game and get like a 3D camera out of the out. I love watching that type of crap back when I was like
well,
10.
that's been a thing forever in video games. I
I
mean,
mean, yeah, I'm
you had a
sure.
like glitch in like even Pokemon Red and Blue.
How do you even do that? It's just like pixels.
Well, also there's a bunch of glitches in that game. That game's notorious for having terror. And the funniest thing is that when they ported those games to the 3DS, they kept them all. And their argument for it was, I can't hear you. You cut out.
Oh, I wasn't talking.
Uh, the funniest thing with they kept all the glitches, and the argument was that they wanted to keep it as authentic as an experience as like the original gameplay was.
Interesting. But yeah, for Boundary Break, like I remember I would watch a lot of Boundary Break and I would like always like want to like drive off for like Mario Kart courses. So when Mario Kart went free like with the free roam mode, that game was designed for me.
Yeah,
I love free roam. I love like being able to like think of like, oh, this track's actually connected to this track, and like there's like all this stuff, and like I like imagine like envisioning the world that it's all contextualized in. I mean, again, I'm a very single player like oriented person. I like having competitive experiences single player where like I was like more like from software type games, and I also like playing just cozy games where like I'm just kind of driving.
I feel like we're polar opposites when it comes to like what type of games we enjoy. Because like my single player games that I enjoy are like Zelda, and then like Donkey Kong. Not specifically Donkey Kong. I've not played a single player Donkey Kong, but I'm excited for that one. If you can't tell, but like Mario,
I love
I
Mario.
enjoyed
I love
that.
Mario. I love Mario.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I know, but like that's when I think of single player like that or Pokemon. Or maybe like some RPG. I love RPGs. But like,
I
okay, let's ignore that. And then we look at my like multiplayer and it's like, oh, Fortnite, oh, college football, oh, like
I don't even play really single multiplayer unless you're dragging me into it.
I'm wait, which one?
I don't really play multiplayer unless like you're dragging me into it.
I keep trying to drag you into more, but you won't let me.
Exactly. I don't play. I don't want to download Fortnite.
Shame on you.
Uh-huh.
I'm hoping Valorant comes out. I think that game would work well on the Switch too.
Yeah. By the way, I'm playing through Cyberpunk right now. That game is incredible. I'm I'm loving that
Also,
game.
that phenomenon because I feel like this has been talked in other podcasts where you sit down and you play Cyberpunk for the first time and you don't realize how long you're spending on the game.
I'm in 5 hours in now.
Okay, I sat down and I played 3 hours straight without realizing that I've been playing for 3 hours. And the
Oops.
only reason, huh?
Oops.
Yeah, I was like, oh, well, that happened. And like, my dogs started running around in circles on my bed, tell me that I need to take them out. And I was like, oh, okay, I guess they need to go potty again. I just took them out. And I looked down at my watch and 5 hours had passed.
I mean, it's a good game. It's a good game.
I just feel like it's engrossing because, like, when you sit down and you, like, listen to the characters, I heard that it didn't release like this. Apparently, this game is, like, really polished
Okay.
compared to, like, what
Okay.
it originally
When
was.
people say that Cyberpunk is a 5-year-old game, no, it's not. It came out half baked. I don't know when they actually polished it out. It's like a 1-year-old, 2-year-old game. Whenever they polished all the nooks and crannies, maybe 3
I
years
think
old.
they polished everything out like a year into it, and then they did like further DLC updates, which we do have access to. And I think it's all baked into the card actually.
Yeah, the 64 because CD Projekt Red tanked the 64 gigabyte card. So yeah.
Anything else about Mario Kart? I don't feel like there's a whole lot I want to talk about in there
I
right
want. I mean, I
now.
kind of want to make a whole video about it. It's not something I can think of.
That's kind of what I'm
Yeah.
thinking.
Um. Actually, something just came to my mind. You know the Switch 2 key cards in like Express like micro SD card, calling the storage situation to be like a mess. You know what this reminded me
Yeah.
of? Reminded me
Well,
of the GameCube with like the
how
tiny
so?
discs.
Oh, I don't really think that was as bad actually.
Oh, it was bad. The biggest problem with the GameCube is that third parties didn't want to support it because they couldn't fit their games onto the discs.
Yeah, but they also didn't have access to like the internet. So I feel like this is more so like a storage issue, which again,
They
I
can
think
play
I think
like
I somewhat agree with you to where like
it's not okay.
I
It's not
am
like a one in one.
reacting.
It's not like a completely transferable
Yeah,
comparison. Yeah, but like it is a definitely similar situation where Nintendo is like really like into like their way of doing things, and then is
yeah.
ignorant of like the industry, and then it ends up biting them in the butt because of it.
Honestly, I think if anything happens, they just stop third parties just stop making physical games for it, which will just decrease sales inevitably.
I mean,
Because like
you see what happened to the key cards though? They're not selling well, and that's because they're
no, that's what I'm saying. So like let's say that they stop producing like the physical games. For instance, with Cyberpunk, I went into Walmart to buy bread. I was like, you know what? I have some extra money in my bank
all
account.
right.
I'm not
I
buying.
have extra money to spend $75. Meanwhile, I'm going to start complaining about how the 1 terabyte SD card for my Switch 2 for my
Again,
30 games.
one comes with a full blown experience. The other one just gives me access to play video games. There is a very clear difference. It is not even like, oh, I get a new console. It's a piece of plastic that I stick in the back of my console that just gives me more space. It doesn't do anything for me.
Okay, whatever. I'm gonna clown on you after this podcast about this. By the way, I still think that's ridiculous.
Again, my only
You
like
don't need to
focus
explain
is
yourself.
we'll get into this conversation after.
Okay.
But no, in general, I feel like the GameCube was more detrimental in that fact. Because if they weren't comfortable enough to use that form factor of like game production, I guess they just can't physically put their games onto the system. To where this, they can still do it. They just won't. They'll just throw it on the eShop for digital only,
I can't see
or
why they wouldn't produce the key cards. Like it's just a piece of plastic, and at least you have store recognition. Like at least like you'd be like walking the store and be like, oh, that game exists. Maybe
yeah,
then you buy it digitally.
how much they cost. I don't know what the cost. It would be like an economic thing at that point.
I don't know. We'd be
I have no
talking
clue. I
semantics
cannot
if
get
we went
into
into
that.
that. But anything else? I think that's about it.
We can talk about Donkey Kong Bonanza coming out in the direct if you want.
I mean, I'm probably not gonna buy Donkey Kong at least not at launch, just because
Boo.
I'm playing through Cyberpunk. I don't want to have a backlog, and I'm playing through Cyberpunk. Then I want to finish a couple other games in my backlog. Then I might buy Donkey Kong.
I'm gonna buy it. I'm gonna probably play through all of it in like 2 days.
Of course you are. I am
No, I'm
not.
not getting that game. I'm that excited for
I
it.
hope you realize I am not the type of person that has the same opinions as most people on the internet. I didn't play games so much differently than most people. I don't really play multiplayer games. I don't really care about like managing my storage. I don't really
I
care.
that out at this point in the podcast.
Yeah, I don't really.
This I don't need a terabyte card. I'm going to defend Nintendo on their poor decisions on
No,
putting
I think the
250
key card was
gigabytes.
BS. I think the key cards are BS. I think that's what's causing this whole situation. Because if physical video games were a thing, we just probably be fine physical. Like yeah.
Yeah, we wouldn't have had that entire conversation. I wouldn't be yapping to you about it because I wouldn't care. I'd be like, "Oh, it was my poor decisions for downloading my game."
Whatever. But I just think yeah, I'm also like I don't like buying games at launch generally, unless the launch of a system is an exception because that's like a big deal, you know. But like unless it's like a Mario or Zelda, I don't really buy games at launch typically.
Actually, the exact polar opposite. I am more willing to buy a game at launch and risk the game being bad or something being wrong with it. Especially if it's a game like Donkey Kong, where I've been looking forward to it for like a year. I think it's been a year since the Switch 2 was announced. Donkey Kong, right? Or has it only been
No,
about 6? Has
it's
it
been
been
like a
6 months?
couple months.
Either way,
What
I've been
timeline are you
excited.
in? Have you been playing too much Cyberpunk?
A
Did you get a
year
chip in
ago.
your brain?
Wait, was it in December when they announced the Switch 2?
No, it was announced
When
in
they
April, late April.
that was over a year ago.
Are you trying to
No,
gaslight me? No, it wasn't.
wait, no. You're right. You're right. I'm being stupid.
Did,
No,
did,
no, no.
did you
You're
just
right. You're right. You're
did
right.
someone
Sorry.
put
It's
like
felt
someone
like
else's memories of a chip in your brain? Be like a
yeah.
Nintendo executives were like poor planning when they were actually going to announce the Switch 2 in 2024, but they didn't because they're stupid.
Listen, I have the mental. I have dementia. It's okay.
Okay.
No, there are rumors that they're not doing direct towards the end of the month slash
Oh yeah,
early part
everyone's
of.
talking about like the holiday title, but then I think like what was a topic Arlo video talking about like actually they probably just aren't gonna they might just not do a holiday title. Be like, we already have Mario Kart and Donkey Kong, and then just re-advertise those two games for the holidays.
So the only reason I think that there's a strong possibility they do it at the end of the month is, and again, Nintendo is notorious for breaking norms and just doing whatever they
Especially
want.
this year, $80 Mario Kart, even though all of us bought it for 50.
I don't know. I feel like there's a because again, what I was getting at is the past couple of years. I think it was Beat 'em Up said that like he did a chart in every single year in July they would do a Switch Direct. So like they could continue that. I don't necessarily care. I just don't think that they have enough in the future. So I think after they release Bonanza, they'll announce a direct, whether it's this month, next month, or the months after. I don't know.
Honestly, I'm good on games for like the next like year.
Not for the next year, not for the Switch at least. You might be good.
I'm
The
good.
consumer market is not.
Look, clearly
Listen,
I don't care about the internet's opinions.
clearly, but what I'm saying for like the general consumer market, Nintendo's notorious for having a stronger release schedule than what they're having right now. So like right now, all we have is like the Zelda game that no one cares about, the Metroid Prime game,
You're the Zelda fan and you just crapped on that game.
because that game sucks. I was so excited. I was like, "Oh my god, we're finally getting a new Zelda game that's 3D. That's a Zelda like main person." Because like when that started, I was like, "Oh my god, look! It's like Echoes of Wisdom, but like 3D. That's so cool." And then they switched to the Age of Calamities like warrior style, and I was like, "That is so disappointing. I hate life."
Ronald's two disappointments in life. The fact that Age of Imprisonment exists and the fact that Switch 2 only has 256 gigabytes.
This is true. This is very true. I can't download 1,000 games on my Switch.
Oh my god.
Very unfortunate. Listen, as somebody who's had the Switch for 8 years and wanted to carry over most of his library that he just keeps on a Switch without having to think about it, that is very frustrating for me.
It's annoying. I just don't care. I want you to know, for people, anyone listening to this point, I am the type of consumer that when Nintendo does something kind of stupid, I'm just like, that's kind of funny. I don't ever get mad. I don't care enough to get mad. I think the last time I've gotten mad at Nintendo was like, I don't even, like, genuinely, like, actually, like, super mad at Nintendo. When was the last time I, like, gotten mad at Nintendo?
Like anyone's like mad at Nintendo. I just think that people think that they're kind of dumb for like doing it this way.
They're weird, and I just like watching them like an alien. I'm like, you're weird. You're so
I
different from
also
the rest
think
of the
that like
industry, which is honestly kind of why I like them. It's just they're. I like I want to make a whole video about this. I like the fact that Mario Kart World's just different.
I also think they're just kind of stupid sometimes. Like I feel like they could have just continued to produce the Switch. Like we were having this conversation either during this podcast or shortly before. I don't remember. But essentially like how they could have continued to produce the Switch 1 like cartridges, put them in a Switch 2 casing, and just said that that was, a Switch 2 indie game or whatever, and just happens to like
I just
work on the Switch 1.
realized the reason why they don't do that is because it's not Express, and they need to have it all Express.
No, because it works on the Switch 2. It works
Well,
natively. I
wait,
can
you can
plug in.
have an Express micro SD on the Switch One, like that's backwards
No,
compatible.
I'm saying a Switch 1 cartridge.
The Switch One cartridge is not Express.
It works in the Switch. It works. You don't have to download the game.
Oh, I see what you mean. Actually, you're right.
Because there's games like I think Ruin Factory does this that already came out to where you can use the Ruin Factory Switch 2 cartridge on the Switch 1 and on the Switch 2.
Well, I see what you mean. Like Switch One, Switch 2's backwards compatible with Switch. Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? They could have just done that. They would have avoided this entire controversy, other than the fact that some games would have had to use the Switch 2 thing. But if it's just like, oh, I just have an indie game like Cuphead that
Wait,
isn't doing a bunch of fancy stuff.
wait. I'm confused. Wait, why didn't Nintendo? Why did they make all this like new cartridges?
Because they're stupid.
Hold
That's why
on.
it frustrates
No,
me.
there has to be a reason. I'm not gonna like just say they're
There is not.
stupid.
No, they're stupid, or they're consumerist and they want more money. There is no in between. They're
They're
either
not
stupid or they
consumerist
want more
because they're
money.
actively losing like third-party support right now.
No,
That's
because
just a
they want
kick in the
people to
foot for
buy the
them.
64 gigabyte card.
They're not
Because
even
that's part of
making
how Nintendo
Nintendo's
makes
not
money.
even making any money from you buying
Yes,
like more unless
that's
they have
how
a
they
deal
make
with
money from
SanDisk.
third party games.
No, I'm just
They make
wondering
money
like
by
okay,
selling.
what is the difference between a Switch 2 like cartridge and a Switch 1 cartridge?
The Switch 2 cartridge is like faster and it can support 4K, I guess. But what I'm saying is with games like Shovel Knight, with like third party games that are not taking full advantage of the Switch 2, there's no reason why they can't just continue to produce Switch 1 games. And maybe they do. I think that's the solution. Is to just continue supporting Switch 1 through these additional releases. You can even put them in a Switch 2 case for all I care. And just have games come out that are just like, on a Switch 1 cartridge in a Switch 2 box that I can just pop in my Switch
But you
2.
see, Nintendo wanted them to load fast, so they go by their promise. I don't know.
I I don't care. That's stupid. That's dumb. That's a dumb take.
Yeah, I can understand the point that it would have may have been worth it for Nintendo to have worse loading times if it meant cheaper like physical games.
But even at that point, even if I have to download a gigabyte to make it run faster, I would rather do that than have a Switch key card. I would rather download a small little update like I have to do with Zelda Tears of the Kingdom and have it just run faster that way than have to download the entire game, you
Hey
know?
Ronald, we have like one really good outcome of the Switch 2 having better loading times. You know what that is?
What?
Minecraft is playable now.
This is true. Minecraft is playable. It is insane.
It actually loads all the chunks because it has faster loading times. Although you're capped at
I'm
12
not
chunks.
gonna lie. The first time I ever beat Minecraft was on the original Switch,
I
and I
remember
don't know
that.
how I did it.
I remember that. I went onto your world too. And I was like, this is, and I had to friggin' play the Nintendo
I
Switch
wonder which
version of
one that
Minecraft.
was.
Okay, we should probably wrap this up. I think
Yeah,
we
I have to
spent
go to bed and get to
yeah, I
work
think we spent
tomorrow.
a solid 30 minutes talking about my old video and then another 30 minutes ranting about storage.
Well, no, I think it was 30 minutes on your videos, and then 30 minutes on like everything else, and then an hour on to storage capacity.
I hate the storage BS. Oh my god, whatever. Goodbye.